If you've ever played on a drum kit, you'd recognize that a hi-hat is going to have a foot choke. This allows us to have longer sounds that are cut off by shorter sounds. This is what a drum choke is. It's available digitally in Ableton. Let's talk about it. So let's get talking about choke. Where we see choke the most is on a drum kit, specifically on the hi-hat. We have this little foot pedal and it's called a foot choke. If I have my foot off of the pedal and I hit my hi-hat, it'll go until the sound dies out. But if I press down my foot, we'll get this closing of those hi-hat cymbals. So you get, and when you press down your foot, it stops. Almost like white noise fading out a little bit and then coming to an abrupt stop. Now, quite often with drum hits, we want to make sure that some sound is happening, but when another sound happens, the first sound is stopped. And that's where choke is going to come in. So let's use this EDM drum beat, something very simple. Now, I want to briefly mention that if you're clicking around and you're hearing sounds, that's great. If you're clicking on these keys to the left and hearing sounds, that's great. If you can't hear them, it's because this little blue headphone button is not turned on. Now, when I'm clicking around, we don't hear anything. So ideally, I would say make sure that that is left on. Now, this hi-hat sound here is quite loud, and it might even overlap a little bit with this sound here. We're going to play around with this for a moment, and I'll show you how this sound can be stopped by this sound. First one is open hi-hat 1, and this is WWMT1. Okay, so we're going to put those on the same choke. Open hi-hat 1 is going to be on choke 1. And this is where we're going to find this choke menu. When you're in this sort of opened up group section here, hit that triangle, find the sound that you want on a particular choke, set it there, and then we'll set this one on choke 1 as well. It's not going to sound drastically different, but I'll isolate things so you can hear the difference. Let's check it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everything by hitting 0 on my number pad, and we're going to just listen to the hi-hats by themselves. Now I can hear it, but I've also done a lot of this sort of method in the past, so I'm used to hearing it. What if we bring this further ahead so it's a bit more obvious? Do you see how this sound, which is quite long, becomes quite short? The second hi-hat is closing off the first hi-hat. So generally, especially in house music, you have this these really big sort of washy open hi-hat sounds that get closed from some of the smaller sounds. You would achieve that by setting them to the same choke. If I want these two hi-hats to be canceling each other out whenever the other one is happening, then I set them, let's say, both to 1. But I might want my crash and my ride having a separate relationship with one another. Those I could set to choke 2, and now those two are controlling each other, and these two are controlling each other. Now, if I flip this, and I take this short hi-hat and pull it right before the long one, it will now be choked to the long one. Listen. You almost don't even hear it. Let's pull it more ahead. So because it's so short, you're already not going to notice it much, but I'm just letting you know that if you have them on the same choke together, it doesn't matter if you have sound A, then sound B, or sound B, then sound A. When one is happening and then the next one happens, if there's an overlap, the next one will be muted or choked. So we're left with a beat that sounds like this. And that little tiny difference of the longer hi-hat being choked by the smaller one starts to lend towards that more professional sound. Now you can try this with tom hits or congas or bongos or hi-hats or cymbals. It doesn't matter. Choking always works the same way when it comes to this MIDI information overlapping. So it's something worth considering. I would highly encourage that you explore these drum chokes. So that's it for this class on drum chokes, all the different drum parts making room for one another. It's really a strong utility if you use it well. Let's jump into the next class.